So this is the wrap up on the 24 hours that we spent in recovering Breeze after she flew off. I'm going to share with you how we lost her, how and where we found her. And in the beginning of this video, the short version, if you watch the first 4 minutes, you're going to get all the overview of what happened. In the middle section, it takes you through the moments when we were reunited and the experience of the family who found her. And at the end, I have some fly videos from how our birds live in daily life as free-flighted macaws. And then in the end, I'm going to recap some of the steps that we took and that we normally take when we're working on a bird recovery, in the hopes that this might help others going through similar situations. We took Breeze out at about 5:30 in the evening for a quick stretch of her wings, and she was immediately chased off by a hawk. She treed up for about 15 minutes, and then she just took off. We searched the neighborhood until dark. While we were searching, a friend created the first poster for us and blasted that out on social media. From her post, we were able to gather the rest of the information, create a flyer, and we sent that over to Walgreens to have Walgreens did an exceptional job. They got the order about 9 o'clock at night. They had those flyers ready for us by 10:30 that same evening. We went down and picked them up. I just can't tell you how grateful I am to the crew at Walgreens for turning those posters around for us so quickly. We spent the rest of the evening looking at maps, looking at the terrain, trying to figure out what our game plan was going to be for the morning. And around midnight, we got a couple hours of sleep and we're back up at the next morning, ready to go all over again. Search and recovery for birds starts before daybreak. So we get up, we get prepared, we get everything ready to go, because those birds will start making noise and moving around early part of the day. As soon as daylight happens, they're going to be out looking for food, water, people, whatever it is. So we start then. We combed the neighborhood and we just continuously worked our way out and around the community. We were calling, we were putting up flyers. All of our friends had arrived, our boots on the ground, helping to canvass neighborhoods and get the word out. Free flyers around the world are a community. Our lifestyle is unique, to say the least, and our fellow free flyers rallied to our side to help in the recovery. I mean, they traveled literally hours to be here in the morning to help. And so as our boots on the ground crew canvassed the city, we had family members and friends making calls to animal hospitals, vet offices, humane societies, pet stores, you name it. Posters were dropped off all over the city. And the other people in the community, strangers to us. I mean, the support from the Prescott community was overwhelming, but they blasted out social media posts. And I think everybody in the city was looking to the sky in hopes of seeing her. At 11:30 in the morning, we received a call from Kelly. Kelly's all off of Pine Tree Lane, and he said he did not see her, but he heard her in the morning at about 7:30. And it wasn't until he left his home and saw the posters that he put together that it was probably Breeze that he had heard. A little bit later, we had a call from a lady on Park Avenue near Greenwood, and she said she saw her near her house. Of course, she did not have any pictures, and so we couldn't really verify what she had seen, but it was still a lead. At just about 6:50, which was over 24 hours since Breeze has been missing, we got the call from Whitney. She said she had a bird in her yard. She texted a pic. It was Breeze. Whitney did everything right. They noticed Breeze in a tree. They took their dogs into the house. Breeze came down first to the trellis, then down onto the table where they had put a tin of water for her. Whitney said she immediately went to social media and found the post and called me. She was careful to make sure I was indeed the owner. I described a few details about Breeze that only the owner would know, and it made me happy that she was protective of Breeze and would not have handed her over to a scammer. Well done, Whitney. Thank you so much.
Literally just kept drinking it. I'm like, oh, she must have been gone for a while, and then that was
Overnight.
I found the post.
Almost 24 hours now.
Yeah.
So did she just come right down to you, or?
I don't know.
No, they were up in the tree,
Uh-huh.
and then we came inside, and then we looked over, and she was on top of the arch.
Oh, okay.
And then we kept doing stuff, and then she was sitting down here, and then she hopped from there to.
Yeah,
and
she's
then
like, I'm hungry and I'm thirsty. You guys got
She
anything
came
going
in
on
and
here?
hung out.
Yeah, well, she's
So-
definitely a people bird, so that's I knew that she would come down to somebody.
Yeah.
But it was just a matter of knowing where to go once somebody did find her, so thank you for
Of course.
doing all the right stuff.
Does that not hurt your eye when you do that?
Well, it's chronic condition, and so that's why she has to be treated all the time. And
Gotcha.
so she's been now 24 hours without the antibiotics that
probably-
she needs, so it's kicked back up.
Yeah.
So I'll spend another week getting it back under control, but it'll be fine. We can treat
She's
it.
got it.
But I can see her eyes mostly closed, and that's why we wouldn't be flying her normally.
Yeah.
I mean, we did not bring her up here to fly her.
Right.
And so when she was out, she got chased by a hawk, and then she was just gone.
Just took off. Oh.
That poor eye. Yeah, we'll get the
I,
word out.
it did go out because our neighbor who lives here is one of my dad's best friends.
Oh, they'll
And-
say it'll start trickling into social media. And
Yeah, and so I think that's probably because then my dad goes, well, no, he's got a picture of it. That's why I was like, I now have two people who claim to know the bird. And then I'm like, Harold, get over here and show me the photo. And it was the same photo you had posted.
Yeah, I was like, what are the odds two macaws go missing?
Yeah,
Right.
that's what we were saying. We're like,
But what
there's not a lot of
happens is,
macaws in Prescott.
I just
Yeah.
get a hold of people and say, blast it out.
Yeah.
Here's
Yep.
the stuff. When the minute she went missing, we go looking, but then I had to contact people and say, okay, blast it out on social media because somebody will
Yeah.
see her. That's the only way we
Yep.
find the needle in the haystack.
She went pretty far though.
She did, yeah. I mean,
From-
I
She
can
can't
fly.
wait
Over
to.
Hidden Valley.
She's 10, I did it's 10-minute drive from where she took off at drive.
Driving
So,
wise, and that's yeah.
This is our map of where we have done flyers.
All those
So
pins.
you're here, all these pins are the whole area that we've done flyers. This was her fly off point, that was where she left from.
Uh-huh.
So from there to here,
Wonder what the
I'll run the distance, but I'll include all that in my stuff tonight, but yeah, so you were outside of our perimeter
Right.
area, but it was the social media.
Well, I knew if she stayed here long enough that eventually we would see something posted.
Yeah,
somewhere.
It's like, we didn't even paper this area.
When we
Yeah.
were up here.
I know, I was like,
Because-
I see one flyer.
You
But
know,
what
it's
we had-
over the
Yeah, what we did is we papered everything coming into
Yeah.
every area where we thought, and so, yeah, our day today, these ladies and us, we did like this area out here, this area out here, and this area down in here, and here you are way out here.
complete opposite.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
guys were going that way.
Right.
We were, and so what happened when you look at the topography, I thought she would have gone down this way towards
Like
this
a
valley.
valley.
She ended up going around this side of the mountain, right? So that's a mountain.
Yeah.
She came around this side of it,
On the back of it.
probably through the backside and down where Senator Highway is, and worked her way all the way
Yeah.
over here.
Wow.
Yeah, but she's a great flyer. She can literally fly 20 miles
She
in
went
an
far.
hour.
She went far and she made some pit stops, it looks like.
Yeah, she must have. You're a good girl, Mom.
Pine trees. They don't play.
Yeah.
She's a good girl.
And over on this side, it's more junipers.
Oh,
And those I feel like can be a little bit more rough
Scratchy.
at times, yeah.
You need a good
Yeah.
girl? Do I have a good
She's
girl?
so
Oh,
excited.
look.
What do you got for me,
Do
Mom?
I have?
She's so excited.
What is that?
The,
Was that on the photo?
this?
Yeah.
No, this is my GPS
Oh,
tracking
yes,
system.
it was on the original photo.
Oh,
because-
okay,
yes.
yes, but that
Okay.
photo was not my bird. It was a photo that I grabbed of a bird that was a blue and golden flight because I was just in a hurry to get something
Oh,
out.
okay. I was like, I was trying to pin, like, how does it all work together and how
Yeah,
you can see
this
it?
is actually the GPS system, right,
Okay.
so that's my, this is a mount.
Gotcha.
So
And
this
that's what she
mount
typically
gets
have.
attached to either a leg band, she doesn't wear a leg band,
Mhm.
or a tail. This one, actually, I put it on her mate, who they brought up today
Yeah.
to help Serge, and he took the mount off, so I couldn't send him out to look. But we didn't know where to look anyway, I mean, we're just lost.
Well,
But
oh,
anyway,
yeah, you would
this
know.
is a GPS tracking system.
Okay.
And it also functions as a telemetry system.
Gotcha.
So I have two different methods if the GPS battery wears out.
Mhm.
And we normally fly with one if we fly off site,
Right,
but we weren't flying.
right.
That
just
was the
hanging out.
thought, yeah.
You're
So
just hanging
anyway.
out, Breezy. You went for a little bit more of a ride than you thought, huh?
Yes, indeed. How was that? You want more?
She's like, please.
What else we got?
She's like, I've had a few sips of water.
Yeah, she's-
So is
you.
the on her side of the face there all that red? Is that just from her?
It's the infection.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the infection that's just brewing underneath. That's why I really needed to find her,
Yeah.
because I knew that
She needs to be able to.
that she needs to have the attention, and that's why we figured that somebody might bring in, put her in, take her into the vet if they found her.
That was a
because
thought.
it's pretty
Our vet's
obvious.
out of town, but that was a thought. I'm like, I don't know what else to do if I can't find her.
But yeah, you can see it's all, the green
Yeah.
crusty gunk. So actually,
Yeah.
she's done really well. I expected her to be much more crusted up. But that's why I say when you look at her and you can see her crooked beak, it's because her nares were collapsed up into the beak area when she was just days old. And what happened was she has no drainage. Like we all have drainage that goes down our throat from our sinuses.
Right.
She doesn't have that, so it comes out her eyes and out her nose. So she's like a snotty kid all the time. Be happy, happy breeze. I found some people. I let people. People are
That
so
was
good.
obvious. The fact that she would hang out here and
Yeah.
would like, because I was like, is she gonna like fly and come like land on us? And like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And so he, because of our dogs, he went up and around and came down this way. And he was like, just. And I'll just. He's like, and then I look out and he's sitting here dancing. He had music playing. And he's out here, and then she's just dancing.
She is definitely your soul sister when it comes to dancing.
It's funny because I was listening to Blues Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
All
if
right.
there's anything I can ever do for you.
Amazing.
John,
Not my car
don't worry
easy.
about it. It's the least that we could do.
Thank you
And I'm
so
happy
much.
that.
Thank
Mm.
you.
Happy
Thank
that
you
she's
for
back.
being such a smart,
Mhm.
wonderful man.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that's basically a wrap. That's the story from beginning to end. Feel free to ask any questions. Happy to talk more about it, but just want to say a huge, huge thank you to this community, this Prescott Valley family, for all of your help, all of your support in getting us to a happy, wonderful conclusion in 24 hours. For those of you that are still with me, I wanted to just show you a little bit of how these birds live normally. I do get a lot of criticism being a free flyer because not many people really understand what it is that we do or why we do it. It has been my belief forever that a bird's wings should not be clipped. I think they should be allowed the freedom to fly. And I just think it's such a wondrous thing, and I could never deny that from a flighted creature personally. So I always wanted my birds to be free flyers, and for the last dozen years or so, we've had flighted birds. We now fly a flock of 5 macaws, and they are wonderful. They are also a tremendous amount of work. Every day, these birds get out and fly, and they need that, in my opinion, and we're able to provide that kind of life for them, and so we do. And we have worked very hard in our training to get them to a point where they're confident and capable in the sky. You would think that after that many years of flying birds that we would never have a fly-off like we did this last weekend in Prescott, but stuff happens and nobody's perfect, and certainly that fly-off, I can look back and I can say, okay, I should have done it this way, should have done it that way, we should never have to have a fly-off, but it does happen. These birds are smart, independent creatures, and they get choice, and sometimes they make bad choices, and sometimes the fault is on us because we put them in a position where they could make a bad choice, and so I own that responsibility. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop free flying them. I won't. I just continue to try to provide better environments for them to fly in.
And look how beautiful those birds are. Hi guys.
So this is us, and I invite you to just feel free. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and ask. We're happy to share what we know and share our experiences in the hopes that other people can learn, just like we did. I mean, we didn't know anything about free-flying birds before 12 years ago. So along the way, we pick some stuff up. We do some stuff really, really well. We need to improve some stuff. And we just keep doing that. We're just going to keep doing that and keep dedicating ourselves to these birds having the best quality of life that we can provide. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day. So I wanted to share a few tips for recovery, some new things that we've implemented. Of course, 911 Parrot Alert has a great website, and the protocols there are fantastic. We basically use those protocols, and we've just added some of our own. So I'm going to share some of the new things that we're doing. So I really love using Google Maps for a search and recovery. When you're working with a group of people, I mean, this was the map that we used as we went along, and we have listed here was our fly-off area, and then the recovery point over here. We had a sighting over here, and we had there's a pin here somewhere that was the other, not a sighting, but the gentleman, Kelly, who actually had heard breeze early in the morning. So the way this works and why it's so valuable is everybody who's on your team will have this on their phone. Somebody who's sitting at a computer or an iPad someplace central, they can see where everybody's dropped flyers and pins, and it really works really simply. If you're in a community or a neighborhood and you're dropping off a flyer, let's say I just put a flyer down here on Gurley Street, I just go ahead and drop a pin, and then I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to save it to that group, whatever that group was. And so I had my today, this is today, that's the one we actually created for this, but you can create whatever list you want. Once you do that, that gets saved real time, and everybody who's in that group will have that pin appear on their map. So it really works well when you're trying to grid out an area and cover a lot of territory that's spread apart, and you don't have to worry about communication. You don't have to worry about do you have cell service, or do you have the two-way radios working, whatever it is. So this is a really, really good way to use Google Maps for a search and recovery. So the next one I like to use is Google Earth. Google Earth does allow you to drop pins, so that part becomes really helpful. But the other thing, especially if you're like in the evening trying to figure out where that bird may have gone, you can put this into 3D mode and you can see where your hills and valleys are. What we know is that often a bird's going to follow the terrain. And so you can see, like, there's a big hilltop here. She's not likely going to go over that hilltop. And in this case, we actually thought she was going to come around this side and come down into this valley where all these homes and people were. Now, she may have gone that way because she was gone for 24 hours, but just as likely that she had come around this side of the mountain. And I think, looking back now, I suspect that the pine forest made her very uncomfortable. And you can see how dense the trees are through here. And I think that she probably got out of that area. And over onto this side, you can see there's plenty of vegetation, but they're more junipers. They're smaller plant life. So, you know, at the end of the day, what we know really happened is she went all the way over here where she was recovered. And the houses in this area are a little bit scattered apart and not so heavily treed. And that's where she ended up coming down at. So looking at Google Maps, I mean, the main thing about using Google Maps is it just gives us the opportunity to get a bird's eye view and perspective of, sorry, I didn't mean to make you car sick doing that, but a bird's eye view and a perspective so that you can plan for which direction maybe to search in. So I just wanted to give you the real story, the story behind the story, and this is just for you, my friends and family. But Rob and I were going up to Prescott, not for a bird weekend. We were going up for a car show, and Amber was going to keep an eye on the birds for us, and we were just going to be gone for 2 days and just enjoy being up in the coolness of Prescott. It was a great car show, 21st Century Car Show, our favorite group. And so Breeze had an eye infection, and I had been treating it. It wasn't quite cleared up. So we decided we'll take her with so that I can continue to treat that eye infection a couple of times a day. And so she was going up as a solo only bird, being a spoiled bird. And we went to the car show, had a great time. It is one of the coolest car shows ever, the 21st Century Group. I love them. But anyway, we went to the car show. We were worn out. We had the Friday night gig. We had all day Saturday. And Saturday night was supposed to be a wine tasting or a dinner at a winery. And it was like an hour and a half drive from where we were. And we were also beat. We decided to bail out of the car show that evening. So it was like 5:30 at night, and I thought, well, let me just take Breeze out and just let her stretch her wings just a little bit. Now, you guys know Breeze is my most steady Eddie flyer. And we didn't bring any GPS because we really weren't going to fly her. So I was outside in the front yard. Rob came out and I said, oh, honey, just call her over to you. Let's let her get a little wing flap in. Well, she headed toward Rob. Then she veered off over his head and did a big loop up in the treetops and was immediately chased by a hawk. I mean, he was just on her, bam. And so the hawk chased her. She circled around and treed up in a pine tree just across the street, literally in the neighbor's yard. So it was not a big deal. You know, I just figured she'll come down. Well, she was up there for 15 minutes. She turned around and was facing the wrong way and took off. And that was it. She was gone. We immediately jumped into the car and started our search and recovery efforts, and you know the rest of the story there. So that was that. But then some of the crazy stuff that happened. We had major car trouble. I was driving around putting flyers up and on the way back to get some more posters, and the Jeep just quit working. I mean, it literally burbled and wouldn't run. So I turned it off, turned it back on, put it in neutral, revved the engine, turned it off, turned it back on, and it worked. So drove it back up the hill, parked it. Rob took a look at it. He couldn't find anything. John took a look at it. He couldn't find anything. So we just went out with it again. So I have just on a breath and a prayer, holding my breath, hoping that nothing else was going to go wrong. And it just seemed like, I mean, we still had no Breeze. We had no idea where she was. There was no sightings. I mean, here we are. We've got 300 posters all over the city. And one guy called and he heard her. Another woman said she was in her yard, but, you know, nothing. And it wasn't until like almost exactly 24 hours later that we got the call and were able to go get her. And so it worked out good, as always. I'm incredibly grateful and I feel so fortunate. But I just wanted you guys to know what the real backstory was behind this as well. So we've been working around the house quite a bit. It's all freshly painted and doing a bunch of stuff. It looks great. We do not have our RV working, so we're not able to travel, but hopefully it'll be ready soon and we'll be able to come see y'all. Love you.